to welcome you all to this third day and second session of AICT Training and Learning Atal Academy sponsored 1 week faculty development program on antenna design, fabrication, and measurement. Before I hand over the session to our today's session expert, Dr. Raghavendra Kumar Chaudhary, who will be delivering his talk on Active Memo, Cognitive Radio for 5G applications. Kindly allow me to give a brief introduction of him. Dr. Raghavendra Kumar Chaudhary is an associate professor of the Department of Electronics Engineering, Indian Institute of Technology, ISM Dhanbad, India. He received the BTech from UIET Kanpur, India in 2007, MTech from IIT BHU Varanasi in 2009, and PhD from IIT Kanpur in 2014. He has researched in developing the metamaterial antenna and dielectric resonator antenna, DRA. The development of the circularly polarized compact antenna is one of his major areas of contribution. He has published over more than 100 papers in top SCI journals. Dr. Chaudhary has guided 5 PhD students and currently 15 PhD students are working under him. He was a recipient of the Young Engineers Award 2020 of the Indian National Academy of Engineering, Young Scientist Award of the Institution of Electronics and Telecommunication Engineers, IETE, Young Engineers Award 2019 to 20 of the Institution of Engineers, India, IEI, and many Best Paper Awards in different categories in national and international conferences such as IEEE, APIS Malaysia, PIRE Singapore, and ATMS India. He has served as the chair for the IEEE student branch of Uttar Pradesh section in 2012 to 13. Presently, he is serving as a counselor of IEEE student branch and advisor of APMTT Society's student branch, joint chapter of IIT Dhanbad. In addition to this, Dr. Chaudhary is also serving as the associate editor of 3 most popular journals in the field of antennas, namely IIT Microwave Antennas and Propagation, IEEE Access, and Microwave and Optical Technology Letters, Wiley. He is a senior member of IEEE and URSI, INAAI Young Associate, and potential reviewer of international journals such as IEEE Transactions on Antennas and Propagation, the IEEE Antennas and Wireless Propagation Letters, etc. He has also been featured, interviewed by IET Electronics Letters, UK. His current research interest includes main topics like reconfigurable metamaterials, metasurface for compact antenna design, MIMO and cognitive radio antenna, frequency reconfigurable active array antenna with BME steering, circularly polarized dielectric resonator antennas, frequency selective surface, electromagnetic band gap, and artificial magnetic conductor structures. He has created a global impact in the development of technical society through his remarkable and innovative research work in the field of antennas. We are honored and privileged to have you, sir, for this FDP. Thank you so much, sir. Now I hand over the session to you.
Okay, thank you, Rishi, for the introduction. So let me share my slides first.
I request all the participants to please switch off their mic during the session. It's a humble request. Thank you so much.
Dr. Rishi, can you see the slides?
Yes, the slides are visible. Switch on to the full screen mode.
It's fine?
Yes, sir. Perfect. Yes, sir.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. So today I'll discuss about Active MIMO cognitive radio for 5G applications. So one of my PhD student and MTech student contributed in this direction significantly, and we developed a new kind of active antennas, active MIMO antenna, rather to say active MIMO antenna, and which is very unique and single in current time. So basically in this talk or in this discussion actually, we'll try to learn the MIMO concept. Okay. Then after we'll also see that how to make it reconfigurable by using the active components, and we'll try to find it out the current scenario, particularly for 5G and upcoming these things. And finally, we'll try to see what are the current requirements, and accordingly we'll find the solutions. Okay, so this will be the order of this discussion. So this is the research group actually. Okay, so Dr. Rishi already told about my research interest, PhDs, and these things. So mainly the lab is sponsored by various funding agencies too. So these are the presentation outlines here. So like this active MIMO and particularly cognitive radio approach actually here. So it is important to mention the 5G, okay, which is nowadays very famous, and will be touching the sub 6 gigahertz as well as millimeter wave windows here, and we'll also see what are the importance, okay, of this MIMO concept, and we'll also compare with CISO, and we'll be discussing about the different MIMO parameters. It's very important. We'll also see the isolation techniques, what we used or what is existing in literature. Then after days of work, actually, we performed in a lab, and along with the isolation, we reduced RCS as well. So I'll show that work also. And this is more or less actually the MIMO antenna related thing. But there's additional features are there, so I will be discussing all those things. And we'll see that what is this cognitive radio, which is not a new concept, but for antenna engineers, how they are looking, you know, and how we are taking actually, I'll present in this way. And finally, I'll show the research work we've done at IIT ISM Dhanbad, and we'll discuss overall all at the last. So before starting these things, so it is very important that we should know about the motivation. Okay, motivation is really very important. Why we should work? Okay, like we can do anything, but like if we have some kind of motivation, it is really very good, so that we can contribute some new things. Okay, so this is the idea. So like we all know these things, this antenna picture here. Okay, and I tried to show here the 6 different antennas here. So you can see here the GPS antennas is there for the location-based services, WLAN and Bluetooth. These things for taking these services we require these antennas. Then after we have the GSM. Okay, it's a very basic one for communicating, 900 and 1800 megahertz in India. And right now this LTE, okay, 4G LTE, these things. So you can see here there's a 2 kind of antennas. These are the MIMO antenna. Okay, LTE H polarized and LTE V polarized antenna. These 2 are the MIMO antenna. Okay. Similarly for the laptops also. Okay, we have the several antennas here. Okay, so basically what I want to say here that antennas are the very important part, okay, of any handled gadget nowadays what we are using. So and the thing is like without antenna we cannot think of these gadgets actually, because connectivity is one of the major issues. Okay, so now we all are using the 4G technology, fine, and it is really very seamless, and we may have different kind of opportunities due to this 4G and all, correct? Like for example, the stock also, okay, without the proper connectivity and the data rate, actually it is difficult actually to communicate in this way. Fine. So like for all of this, antenna is a very important thing actually, and we should explore further. And right now, you can see also the new technologies are coming like 5G and 6G. People are talking about, and in millimeter wave also. Correct. So definitely because we require the high data rate and other things. So antenna is a primary thing, and sometimes with lot of pressures coming over the antenna engineers too. Correct. So like let us try to understand that to fulfill the current requirements. Okay, what are the needs? Okay, or what are the things we need to take care? Okay, so very first thing is that right, this thing should be a very compact so that it could be utilized in a handheld applications. Fine. Second thing is that circular polarization. In my last talk, I already told about the circular polarization and all. Second is, third is like we should have the good isolation, because you must be heard about that like MIC MIMO and beam forming and other these things. Like, number of elements are the number of antenna elements are there. So we require a proper isolation, okay, among these elements. So this is another conditions, okay. uh, the fourth one is a multifunctional, single antenna. Okay, like instead of placing the 5 antenna, let's say if you have a very small antenna, okay, which can cover all 5 or 6 bands, it is really very good. We can go further miniaturization and all. Okay, and next is this how to make compatible with these antennas with modern MIMO and cognitive radio systems. Correct. So keeping these things in our mind, okay, we should do the research actually. Correct. And we should know actually what are the acceptable range, acceptable values of the gain and other things, bandwidth, okay, so that we can fulfill these criteria. Okay. Another thing is that, like as we were discussing about the connectivity and other thing. So, like when we are talking about the high speed, okay, 5G. So, like many applications. So, like we may go for the gaming also, the movies or autonomous cars. Okay, nowadays, this things autonomous cars is another demand. Okay, of this era. And online education, basically this things is very important and directly affected our life, this education. Okay. And medical and other retail activities are also depend on this high speed internet. So when this 4G LTE came actually, so many problems are going to sort it out. And still we are looking for the high connectivity, very this things high data rates, so that we may control all the thing in a real time. Okay, so for that actually this how antenna engineer can help actually to solve these things. Okay, so we would see actually in coming slides that how these things can be fulfilled by using this particular technology. Correct. Apart from that, we have the Internet of Things. Okay, so people are talking about the smart cities, smart homes, yeah, smart schools, and everything. So for that also, the connectivity is a big issue. Correct. So that is why this 5G and other things uh, is uh, is really very important. And as shown, we are getting the 5G. It is a sub 6 gigahertz. Okay, but like when we are going when we are going actually for the millimeter wave window. Okay, so we will essence actually a real 5G technology, because their speed and other things was extremely high. Okay, So, but the thing is, we'll see the things, what are the requirement, and basically here we will be focusing the sub 6 gigahertz and the technology we developed. Okay, so like we are talking about this 5G and 4G, so comparison is necessary, and we should know, okay, that where at what points actually we are seeking um, the improvements, okay, over the 4G LTE. So first thing is the latency. Latency in a 5G is very less, which is less than 1 millisecond. So you may see that the connectivity and the transfer of data will be very fast. Okay, and other thing like a device density. Okay, so like we may handle number of devices. Okay, in 5G, and data rate also is very high, is around 10 Gbps. Followed by area, traffic capacity, power consumption, bandwidth, and other factors too. Correct. So everywhere you can see these are some numbers and comparison they made actually. This picture actually I have taken from this magazine. You can also see this thing. You can Google it actually. Is your city ready to go digital? Okay, this is just came in Feb 2020. So they explain very nicely all the things and the comparison between 4G and 5G and the current and future requirements. Okay, so please have a look on this. Correct. So surely we can say that yes, by having this 5G, okay, so the life will be different. Okay, and we are not going to wait for the things. Okay, so in the real time, we will be doing particularly like if I say for the medical these things, okay, medical field, it will be really very uh, these things like the doctor can do actually the real time operations and all. Uh, so the concept already there, but due to this data rate and other things, okay, so now these things may be practical actually, but the thing is if we are going with the millimeter window actually, so surely the things will be very practical. Okay, fine. So yes, so let me talk over here the frequencies. Okay, so here you can see like this is a 5G spectrum. Okay, and you should know about because when you are developing any kind of antenna, filter, or oscillator. Okay, so you please take care these frequencies. So like you can see here, mainly the frequency, the window actually starting from 3.2 and going up to the 4.2 or 4.4 gigahertz. So between that actually this sub 6 gigahertz is there. Fine. And like millimeter wave, you can see here, there's a three window you can see. One is 24 to 28, 37 to 40, and 64 to 51. Recently, actually, FCC given one more additional band, which is more, above 50 gigahertz. Okay, so still the things are in a debate actually, and let's see what will happen actually. But these are the frequency bands you may concentrate if you want to develop the millimeter these things. Okay. Now, let us try to understand the difference between these two things. One is a sub 6 gigahertz and another is a millimeter wave. Okay, mm wave, and m is small here. So, so first try to understand the technology involved and what are the advantages. So, like if I talk about first sub 6 gigahertz, below 6 gigahertz, this thing, and mainly 3.2 to 4.4, let's say. So we require MIMO. Basically, we are using, okay, in a 4G, these things we are using. Then the cognitive radio, then massive MIMO in some application, not all actually. And here, what are the advantages are? Advantages, this thing like it can travel the longer distance, right? So we already means experiencing this 4G LTE and the frequency is not very far from the 4G LTE. So we may experience that, yes, definitely this will travel longer distance, okay? Now, the thing is because the frequency is less here, so it can penetrate through some obstacle as well. Okay, and less attenuation in an environment. Okay, okay, it is a well proven, and the cost implementation is less because all sort of infrastructure already there, the research and its critical implementation already actually described in many literature. So there is a no problem in building this 5G technology at sub 6 gigahertz. Okay, so that is why actually all these mobile companies are trying to launch the things within the sub 6 gigahertz, not millimeter wave. Okay, but you can see actually in some of the mobile uh, like if you see the specification of iPhone 12, okay, so you will find that they have given actually the millimeter wave band too. That is 5G phone actually, but they have given the millimeter wave too. Okay, so you please find it out. What is the band? And here this is a less complex system because the elements are limited. Correct. Now coming over the millimeter wave this things 5G. So the technologies involved are means what you need to understand first is MIMO. Okay. Then second is the phased array because there the challenges are there that how to handle the power. Okay. So the phased array and the intelligent phased array actually we need to think about at the millimeter wave. Then beam forming techniques we need to see, and we have to also learn about the SIW. It's very important because planar structure we are going to use, but we know that there is a certain limitation with the planar structures of microwave laminates. But this limitation may be a challenge. Okay, by using the SIW. Okay, so introduction of SIW it means the same stuff, the same substrate actually maybe handle a large amount of power. Okay, and these frequencies. Okay, basically the low dielectric constant material and low 10 delta actually we are using for developing this SIW structures. Okay, so what are the advantages with millimeter wave here? Well, very first thing is very high data rate. Okay, data rate is very high. Okay. So other thing is availability of large unlicensed spectrum, correct? And third one is a low latency. Latency is very less here, correct? And here the thing is because phase array other things is an important part of these things. So possibility of the integrating more antenna element in array because at higher frequencies these things we may accommodate the large number of these unit elements. Okay, now if we comparing the both the things, now then we can get the answer. What is the answer? Like why this millimeter is wave communication 5G communication is not coming. Why sub 6 gigahertz? Because I already told about the advantages that it can travel a longer distance and can penetrate through the obstacle. Fine. So like if you try to find it out, the free path loss. Just a moment. So if you can see that this can be travel longer distance and can penetrate through the obstacle, it means that if we try to calculate the path loss with this formula, correct? So at 2 gigahertz and 30 gigahertz, so you will find the difference is 23 dB. Okay, the difference is 23 dB. Means if you are calculating the path loss as 30, okay, so this is more than 23 dB more. So you may guess actually here that huge amount of power. Okay, huge amount of power is going to be lost. Okay, so that is why actually the subsys gigahertz and another thing is preferred. Okay, for coming these things mobile these things 5G communications. Okay, so this is one thing. Now, so like we done the literature survey actually when we started this work. So we started with MIMO antenna, planar MIMO antenna, and we saw actually some of the paper are talking about the intelligent antennas. So what is this intelligent antenna? When we are combining actually this MIMO concept and the cognitive radio. Okay. So like here you can see this is a MIMO, commercially available MIMO antenna here. okay, and in sub 6 gigahertz. And here this is the block diagram for the cognitive radio. So cognitive radio is not a new concept. Okay, uh, if it belongs to the communication stream, okay, signal processing and communication. So this term is very common there, and people are talking about like software defined radio. If you heard about SDRs, okay, so SDRs actually taking the same kind of things. Okay, so what we given here, we given a extra flexibility actually in a hardware that the hardware would be enough intelligent to decide the things. Okay, like this antenna is enough intelligent to decide or choose or deselect the things bands. Okay, so like here you can see this is a four blocks are there, like a spectrum, environment, sensing, spectrum analysis, and management. Okay, so like overall, like when we are talking about this high data rate and other things, okay, so spectrum utilization is another important parameter. Hmm. Because most of the time we are not actually using efficiently the full spectrum. Okay, so here we'll try to solve that problem by using this technique where we combine MIMO and cognitive AI. Now, when you see in a literature, okay, so you will find that these two things people are combined, okay, but they combine in a different way. Okay, within a cognitive radio, there is a sub branches are there. Okay, I'll show you this thing. So people performed actually these things separately. Okay, here our contribution is that we made it integrated on a single platform. Okay, okay, so let me start with the importance of MIMO first. Okay, then we'll see the cognitive radio, and then finally we'll club these two things and we'll find it out. Okay, we find it out the requirements and how to develop the things. Fine. I hope the slides are visible and I'm audible. Okay.
Yes, sir. Your slides are visible and audio are audible. Sir.
Yeah. So now let us try to understand this importance of MIMO. This picture actually is very informative, and here you can see there are two antennas are there. Correct? Yeah? Two transmitting antennas are there. In user maybe in a building, in a car, okay, or on a these things in a free space. This thing. So now the thing is when the antenna is transmitting the signal, so surely it will be if it will be actually reflected from many obstacles, maybe building, maybe cars, or maybe trees and other things. Correct. So we are saying this kind of communication falls under the NLOS communication, non-line of sight communication. Correct. So what are the challenges here with NLOS communication? The challenges are actually uh, like when these multiple reflection happen in signals, so it is a high chances that you may lose the signal. Huh? It may get absorbed by means large buildings, okay, or maybe something where these things are going to be absorbed. Fine. So it is a quite big challenge. Now, like if you recall actually the 3G and 2G time, so there are many call drops. Okay, many call drops are there and loss of the signals. Remember this thing. So the reason is that that time the MIMO was not there. MIMO was not introduced actually in a mobile antennas. Correct. So we have the single antenna element, and there is a high chance that we may lose a signal. Nowadays we have that MIMO concept, and we are increasing the probability of receiving the signal. Are you getting this thing? So so in this way we are making the better communication. But still, if you find some metro cities like Delhi and Mumbai, still the call drop things are there because there are number of obstacles are there. Okay, so so like the thing is we require a stronger or this device Okay, this could be this problem may be handled actually. Correct. So now why this is important? So let me introduce the diversity schemes. Okay, so like diversity, like how we can utilize the channel. So particularly there are mainly three schemes are there. One is the time, frequency, and antenna. Okay, space also. Fine. As an antenna engineer, I will be talking about the antenna diversity. Time and frequency are the limited source. Correct. We may use a different time for sending the different signals. We may allocate the frequencies. Okay, but these resources are very limited. Fine. The other thing is the antenna diversity. So antenna diversity mainly it consists two things. One is a spatial diversity, another is polarization diversity. So when we are talking the spatial diversity, like what kind of system we are using, like MIMO, okay, single input, multiple output, multiple input, single output, like that. And polarization diversity, like that the orientation of the antennas, like one antenna is rated at let's say horizontally and other is vertically. So in this way, the dual polarized antennas are very common nowadays. Correct. So these are the two things. Correct. And the data rate actually should be less than channel capacity for the error-free communication. This is one thing. Okay, so like this diversity is actually like if you see the MIMO history of MIMO, so you will see that from it is not a new subject again. It actually existing from beyond this thing. So before you can say 1950s. Okay, and this diversity term actually come with the antenna only. And then the communication, these things, people start exploring these things. And now again, we are utilizing an antennas. Correct. So let me show you one picture, then it would be better clear to you. So here you can see, okay, right hand side, a picture is there that a person actually recording some event. So, and it is going to transmit somewhere, correct? So like here you can see the two antennas, the left hand side picture, okay, the red arrows, these are the antennas actually. And these antennas are 45-degree apart, okay? These two antennas are 45-degree apart. So it will be offering a good polarization diversity, correct? So this is one way to understand the diversity, correct? Now let us try to understand with different configuration as well, like a single input, single output. Okay, so this is very famous and we know. So here there is a no diversity. There is no diversity. Now coming over the single input, multiple output. We have the single input, but at the receiver side we have let's say two antennas or four antennas. Okay, so let's say if many time reflection or happened actually, so maybe some of the antennas are not receiving, but if we are lucky enough and let's say some of our antenna are receiving the signal, so so we can say actually that the communication is successful. Similarly here, like multiple input and single output, we are transmitting number of signals actually from the different antenna, but at receiver side we have only one antenna. Okay, so signal is coming from the different antennas. So maybe we are increasing the diversity at the transmitter side. Okay, so this is another way. Now the finally we can say that the MIMO actually where the diversity in a both side, okay, like in a transmitter side as well as in a receiver side, both the side we have a diversity, correct? So here the probability of receiving the signal or chance to get the signal actually is very high. That is why the signal loss and other things are not happening nowadays. Okay, very less. Now let us take one example here, like single input, single output. Okay. So we all know this is a line of sight communication, single input and single output if we are talking about. And we can find the channel capacity and all the things. Now let us let us talk about here the single input, multiple output. Okay, and let us try to understand how the things are working. So let's say at the transmitter side you have a single antenna. Okay, and at the receiver side you have the antenna 1 and antenna 2. Okay, these are the obstacle here, the blue color you can see here. And when this antenna is transmitting, okay, so definitely there will be some, because of this obstacle there will be some reflections or will be happened actually, and it is possible that one of your antenna is not getting any signal. Okay, so let's say in this case antenna 2 is not getting signal, but due to this reflection and all, antenna 1 is getting some signal. Fine. So like here we can say here the communication will be successful. Okay. So we have two antennas, but here the thing is we have received the signal at antenna number 1. It means if we write the channel capacity here, so it will be having the two channels. Okay, H11 and H21 like this. Okay, so in this way we can manage the value of C also. Similarly here, like you can see that channel capacity may be actually enhanced actually by using different scheme like single input, multiple output, multiple input like that. And for MIMO, this is the formula. Okay. Now this diversity and spatial multiplexing. Okay, these two terms. Let us try to understand. So like with MIMO actually, how we can utilize these things. So very first way actually is that the figure number A. Okay, you can see here that we have a one data stream 101, let's say, correct, and the same data actually is going to be fed to all antennas. Okay, means same signal we are feeding to all transmitting antennas. So in this way, what we are doing actually, we are making it spatial diversity. Means let's say this antenna number 1 and antenna number 2, maybe the two of these three antennas maybe fail to send the signal at the receiver side, but your third antenna may get chance or able to send the signal. Okay, so in this way we are improving actually what, the reliability. Okay, that yes, the communication will not going to be lost. Okay, now second thing is that we have the spatial multiplexing, which improves the data rate. How it improves? Let's say the same data bit, same data stream you have 101, and you are feeding 10 and 1 whether from the different antenna. Okay. Okay, 101 means antenna number 1 bit, 0 bit, and 1 bit like that. So in this way, like here you are, let's take an example that this complete string actually we are sending 3 seconds, taking the 3 seconds to send the thing 1 bit per second. Okay, so it will take the 3 seconds. Now here in this system actually it will taking only 1 second, because individually actually, okay, you are sending this 101 different data bits actually. So in this way you can improve the data rate. So this is one way. Okay, now we have some modulation technique and other things by which we are improving the data rate also. Fine. Okay, so let us take one example here. Okay, so let us have, we have a channel. Okay, one channel of 100 megahertz, and we divide it in 10 parts, of each channel having 10 megahertz bandwidth. Fine, and let's say we have a data in this way 0 1 0 like that. Okay, and we use the QPSK modulator layer. Okay, so it will combine 0 1 0 1 1 0 like that, and it will designate the symbol 1 2 3 4 like that. Okay, so in particular channel, okay, let's say 1 2 3 and 4, these symbols are we are sending. Fine, so here like because this channel this total bandwidth is here the 100 megahertz, and we divided in 10 channels actually. So like, because, and we are combining the 2 bits in a single symbol, so it will be taking 20 bits per 0.1 microsecond. Fine. Okay, this This small thing actually is 0.1 microsecond. Now this is without MIMO. Okay, this is without MIMO. We used QPSK modulation scheme. Now the thing is how we can improve the data rate. Okay, if we include the MIMO here, 2x2 MIMO, let's say. Okay, 2x2 MIMO means two antenna, two transmitter antenna at the receiver transmitter side, and receiving side two antennas are there. Fine. So let's say the symbol number 2 and symbol number 4. Okay, is handled by this the first antenna, and 1 and 3 with a different antenna. So in this way we doubled actually the data rate, and now now here the data rate would be 40 bits per 0.1 microsecond. Okay, because we are now at the same time we are dealing, because of this 2x2 MIMO system, we are dealing at the same time two symbols. So in this way we actually increase somehow the data rate. Okay, I believe you got this one. Fine. Now, so certain advantages and disadvantages here we already talked about. So I listed some of the things like MIMO increase the reliability of the communication by operating the spatial diversity mode. We have seen this thing, and spatial multiplexing mode also, and a number of things actually, and certainly we should talk about the disadvantage, because these are the mainly challenges and we need to overcome them. That it is taking the large space. Okay, because number of elements are more. So like the next challenge would be like, if you can reduce down the size, okay, without altering the antenna parameters, okay, it would be a great thing. Designs are very complex because the isolation problem and other things. And we need to satisfy all the values like for ECC, isolation, and other things. Okay. Okay. So coming over the MIMO parameters. Okay. So when we are designing our antenna, so what we are doing, we are trying to find it out its input reflection coefficient. Okay, that is the first thing. Then we have the this things gain. Then we have a directivity and a number of parameters. Right? Similarly, when we are characterizing this MIMO actually, so we need to take care these 6 parameters. What they are? First is that isolation is a very important thing. Second is the envelope correlation coefficient. Okay, another far field property. So that in a far field actually there will be no correlation among the radiation patterns, or we can say the far field parameters. Okay, then we have the diversity gain. It is directly connected with the ECC. Then we have the total active reflection coefficient, because number of antenna elements are there. So similarly for S11 we are measuring the TAG, which includes the incident and the reflected waves actually, and we then we have to estimate the channel capacity losses as well. Finally, this mean effective gain is also a very important thing. Now let me discuss one by one these things. So first is isolation between the ports. Correct. So basically when we are talking about this isolation, it means that there should be no crosstalk. Okay, like when we are feeding the port number 1, so port number 2 must be completely isolated. This is the meaning actually here. Like the 4-port directional coupler you have seen in a lab. So like if you see that the port number 2 and port number 3 you are getting the power, but theoretically port number 4 should be isolated. So we need to maintain conditions such as that the 2 port should be isolated properly. Correct. There are various methods, various techniques are there. So basically when you do all the simulations and other things, so you have to find it out is S21, or if you have the number of ports, okay, 3 or 4, S34, like that. Okay, so the number should be less. This minimum is 15 dB. Okay, 15 dB is satisfying the minimum requirement for good isolation. Okay, Now, this isolation is very important, and why we should take care about it, because it directly actually affecting your efficiency of the system. How? The total efficiency, if you calculate, it will be radiation efficiency multiplied with 1 minus S11 square minus the isolation parameters. Okay. So let's say if your, because these things are coming in a minus, so if your isolation is the value is poor actually, so here you have the very less value total, and hence you have the reduced efficiency. So you need to take care. If you make 0, it is really very good. But as a engineer actually, or for the critical application, engineering application, we should not say this is a completely 0. Okay, practically not possible. So we have given some limit. Okay, let's say 15 dB. 15 dB is enough. Okay, so with this number, we may get a decent number which can run your application. Correct. Fine. Now, the second parameter is the envelope correlation coefficient. Okay. So this envelope correlation coefficient, like that, let's say your two antennas are radiating actually. Okay, and how they are actually far field parameters are related to each other. Okay, this provides you the information. Okay, so particularly this could be defined in a two ways, and basically this is a far field property. Correct. So in a literature you will find the two definition, but I'll recommend you use the second one. Okay, why? Because this is a far field parameter and it should be calculated from the radiation intensities, or particularly you can use this electric field intensities. Okay, with this formula, and you can may estimate ECC. Otherwise, for the rough estimation and other things, you may use your S parameters also to find the ECC. Correct. So so it should be less than 0.5. Okay, the acceptable number is 0.5. Second, third thing is that diversity gain. Okay, so this diversity gain is the increase in signal to interference ratio. Okay, when we are using the MIMO in place of a single input, single output system, or how much the transmission power can be reduced. Okay, when a MIMO system is introduced without a performance loss. It's very important to understand this term, that initially, because when you say that line of sight communications, like single input, single output system. So when we are replacing that system with a MIMO system, then how much transmitted power affected, because surely it will affect number of elements are there. Okay, to run this element, there must be some losses and other things will be introduced. So surely it will be affect the overall performance of the system, and that is actually calculated by this diversity gain. And basically this could be run by the ECC. Okay, again, so 10 into under root 1 minus ECC. So if ECC, let's say if there is a no correlation between the or among the far field parameters, so ECC would be 0. In this way, the DG will be 10. Okay, so this is the maximum value you can say. Yes. The total active reflection coefficient, right? So here this is a under root B2 square plus B3 plus B4 divided by A2 square plus A3 square plus A4 square. Okay. So like similarly for the, like we are calculating the input reflection coefficient. So here also we are defining the ratio of the square root of total reflected power, okay, or and total incident power. This ratio actually we are estimating here. Okay. So for the 3-port system, the formula could be written like this. Fine. Now, so channel capacity loss, CCL. So basically, again, you can find it out these things if you have the S parameters. So from S parameter you can phi, and once you have the phi matrix, you can check the C loss, and it should be less than 0.4 bit per second per hertz. Finally, mean effective gain, and this is This is again depends on the far field parameters, gain and other things, and how much the cross polar level is there. So basically, if we see the simple definition, so this is mean received power upon total mean incident power. Okay, so in a formula, you will see this is a this thing's integration over the surface actually. Okay, and here there are some terms. It's very well known. One is XPR, which is a cross polar component, gain theta and P theta, intensity, power intensity in theta direction. So in this way we can calculate also, correct, mathematically. Fine. And when we are talking about the mean effective gain, so like let's say if you have the two element system, okay, in a MIMO, so you need to calculate the mean effective gain for one antenna and the second antenna. Then if you subtract, it should be less than 3 dB. Now coming over the isolation techniques, okay, so this is all about we discussed the different parameters associated or correct to characterize the MIMO system. Okay. Now, as I told you, this isolation part is really very important because it affects many of the parameters as well. Correct. So in literature, you will find that people explored actually the different isolation. Okay, so it may be based on the decoupling network. It may be based on the electromagnetic band gap structure. It may be the reflector base. Many techniques actually. Correct. Means I'm showing 4 or 5 actually, but you will see in literature many more. Okay, and people still trying with or trying to innovate some new things also. Correct. So for your information, I put it here the five different isolation technique. So very first, and what actually we used in a lab, we kept it. Okay. Now, first is the filter based isolation enhancement. Okay. Second is frequency selective surface. The frequency selective surface in this actually the meta surfaces metametal also coming. Then we have the defected ground structures DGS. Then we have the antenna placement and orientation, and the reflector base. So mainly 5, and we used actually. So I'll show you some of the things what we developed. So Rishi, can we take a 5-minute break, and then I'll start.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
Okay. Okay. Fine. So I'm just taking a 5-minute break, and then we start. Okay.
Okay, all the participants, we are taking a 5 minutes break, and thereafter we will resume the session.
हाँ वो तो देख लूंगा मैं थोड़ा होगा ना डिटेल्स। अब जैसे इसमें ही आ रहा है 16-17 हजार रुपये तो ज्यादा पास है। बाकी वो वाला तो इसमें अमाउंट होती ना है। तो हो जाएगा तो और बचेगा। टैक्स ज्यादा काटेगा। चलिए चला जाए।
Dr. Rishi, can we start?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. So now onwards, I'll present some of the things, some of the research work, what we developed here. So first, I'll show you some of the isolation technique, what we verified in a lab. So this is one of the work where we use the bandstop filter, okay, as a for improving the isolation distance. So you can see the figure number A. So we have a monopole antennas here, correct, and a partial ground, correct. Now The thing is here, you can say actually there are two antenna system, but there are a lot of problem. We cannot say the MIMO and other things because the isolation problem. I'll show you the results. So then after we introduce a band stop filter. Okay, you can see here this is a band stop filter, and apart from that we introduce some matching stubs also. Correct. So just check the results. So this figure C actually corresponds to the figure number A, when we have only the monopole antennas on the partial ground plane. Fine. And if you see here, S21 value, which is more than minus 10 dB or minus 6 or 5 dB around at the center frequency. So with this S21, it is difficult to say, okay, or difficult to use for MIMO application. This is one thing. Second is that when we introduced that band stop filter, okay, and that band stop nature actually coming at the same frequencies, which is in between 2.6 to 2.7. Fine. So when we introduced actually, we got a very nice response. You can see this. You can trace here the black color curve, which is S21. Now at the center frequency, this is more than minus 30 dB. Correct. So in this way, actually, we improve the isolation. So like here you can see the all result. So these are the steps you can see. This is two element system. This is the S parameters. Then after we develop a band stop system here, you can see here this is okay. And when we embedded in between these two, okay, because we know there is a cross talking here. Okay, when we embedded, so this is the response. Now you will see the response it is completely not acceptable. The reason is clear that because as soon as you introduce a, a filter or any other things extra metallic part, it will affect your resonance frequency. So what we did actually, we matched it. We matched the system. You studied about the single step and double step matching. So in a similar way, actually, we introduced some steps over here, and it is now tuned at the desired frequency. So this is the final response. Okay. Here you can see this is the fabricated one, and this is well matched. Okay, we got a very good isolation of the system, and this is one attempt we made here to make it circularly polarized, and we used a different radiating element over this monopole antenna. Okay, and we got a very little bandwidth, but this was just a start actually that time, that how we can incorporate the CP property in MIMO system without affecting the ECC values and other things. Okay, so we just tried actually. Okay, this thing. Main objective was that how to this thing reduce the cross talking between these two antenna elements. Okay, and we use the stop band filter. Particularly, we this filter actually we characterize, and we saw that this is a mu negative filter. Okay, this is a kind of metametal filter actually we utilize here. Now, other contribution is that reconfigurable isolation enhancement using filter-based resistance. So now the thing is, what is a new thing here? Let me first introduce here. The first thing is that that time when we published in 2019 actually, so till that time it was this particular work having the two features. One is that the isolation enhancement. Okay, other thing is that it is a reconfigurable, means we may utilize this antenna for two different frequency bands. Are you getting this thing? So these two properties simultaneously we got. Okay, so this is the contribution from our side actually. So here you can see there are different elements are there, and this is a 4 antenna elements are there actually. And here we have saying that decoupling networks, rather to say the filters and all, we say the decoupling network. Okay, because it actually we are making reconfigurable and using the 2 different bands actually. I'll show you that how we made it these things. So let us try to understand step by step. Okay, so how we started, correct? So here we have the 4 antenna. You can see clearly 1, 2, 3, and 4. The first figure actually. Okay, and here you can see we have taken a Mendel line kind of structure. Correct. So this Mendel line kind of structures are well proven actually in literature. We all know. Fine, and the main property of these structures are actually we can accommodate in a very small or compact area these things. So this is one motto actually to choose this kind of structure. Fine. So we repeated actually this antenna element, and we made it actually 4 antenna hairs. Okay. Now after that actually we analyze it and we saw its S parameters, and you can see here. Okay, figure number B. You can see here this things that S21, S31, and S41. Okay, these all are the denoting the isolations. These things. So here this is not a good number. Fine. Still, it crosses actually the minus 10 dB line. Okay, it should be beyond minus 15 dB or close to 20 dB like that. Fine. Now to verify it that the antenna elements are talking each other, we plotted the surface current. Fine. So let's say this port number 1, antenna number 1, we made it a feed. Okay, we excited. Okay, we fed the power from port number 1, and other antennas are matched. Okay, these all are matched with the 50 ohm. Okay, now when you are feeding the signal, okay, and at the same time you can see here there is a red part, it means that high surface current. Okay, so you can see here there is a cross talking between the first and second and first and fourth. Okay, and this is unwanted thing. Okay, this is unwanted thing. So this whole system is operating at near about 2.4 gigahertz. Okay, we observe this system is operating at 2.4. That is good for us because number of applications are there. But at the same time, the isolations are not good. So this is one thing. Okay, please note it down this thing. Second, actually, when we remove these Mendel line structures, okay, please check here. When we remove the Mendel line structures, okay, so we simply have a monopole kind of antenna. Fine. And again, we plotted its S parameter, and what we saw, we have the frequency response around 5.4 gigahertz, which is again a useful frequency. But again, the problem is the isolation, and this could be seen if you plot the surface current over here. Considering here the port number 1 is a feeding point that time, and other ports are matched with the 50 ohm. Okay. So now what we have seen, we experienced here that with Mendel line structure, okay, with Mendel line structure, this provides me the frequency around 2.4 gigahertz, whereas without this provide 5.4 gigahertz. Right? And these two frequencies are useful, we all know. Correct? Now, okay. Now, the reconfigurable isolation, these things, filters actually. So here again we used actually the Mendel line structure. You can see here, and we played with a different electrical length. Means we taken this much portion and the full Mendel line kind of things. Correct. So surely if we are increasing the electrical length, it will provide me the less frequency compared to this structure. Okay. So we tune such a way, okay, we tune such a way that it provides me the band stop nature, okay, at 2.4 and 5.4 gigahertz. Got it? So now I have antenna, MIMO antenna, I have the filters, stop band filters, okay, at the same frequency. Now we have to integrate it all. So we all know that the pin diode is a very good option to switch off and on a particular this things elements, correct? So we use that thing now. So this is the complete structure you can see here at two different frequencies. So the very first thing is that when we introduced these filter based isolation, this blocks actually here you can see this is a filter actually. This filter, sorry, let's check here. This is a filter, okay, between the two antenna elements. Similarly, when we remove the Mendel line structure and the part of the Mendel line structure, so it become useful at 5.4 gigahertz. Fine. So now if you compare it actually the previous one, when there were no filter, stop band filter over there actually. So the isolation was not good actually, or not acceptable. Rather to say, not acceptable actually. Now here you please see. As soon as we introduce this filtering element here, okay, we got the isolation, okay, as a desired number, which is less than minus 15 dB. Okay, we got less than minus 15 dB, which is quite acceptable to run several applications. Fine. Now, how to make it reconfigurable? As I told you, that pin diode may be useful to do these things. Now, to further verify these things, actually, we plotted the surface current. Okay. Now, you please check and compare when we don't have the filtering element and when we have the filtering element. Okay. So when we don't have the filtering element, you can see the antennas are talking each other. Okay. Now you can check this red portion which says about the surface current induced over the different antennas. Now check the second picture here when you incorporated here the filtering elements, so there is no cross-talking among the antenna. Okay, so this proves actually that the cross-talking is very less. Similarly, we did it for the other one also. You please check here. And again we don't have the cross-talking. Okay, so with this actually we got satisfactory results, rather to say useful result actually using this filtering elements, using the filtering elements. Now the second target or second thing actually, the step is to make it reconfigurable. Okay, because this thing is okay. Already in the literature you will find, but how to make it reconfigurable? So we chosen this structure intentionally. We chosen this structure intentionally so that smartly we can do the reconfigurability in this structure. Fine. Now please check here. So the very first figure on the top, you can see that this very small patch kind of things of yellow color and black color. This denotes a pin diode. Okay, this denotes the pin diode. Okay, so in a previous slide we already seen that the some part of the Mendel line we removed so that it is going to operate at different frequency. Correct. So we identified those locations and we put it the pin diodes. Okay, we put it the pin diode. Please check. We incorporated total 8 pin diodes in antenna elements as well as the filtering element. Fine. So here you can see the June picture actually here. Okay, this is the top view of these things where the antenna elements are there, and here this is the pin diode. Okay, these are the jumper wire and DC blocking capacitor. second picture, the bottom side, where you can see this decoupling network or the filtering elements are there, correct? And here also the pin diode we used. You please check here. Okay. So now with this, with the help of this pin diode, we can think of the two different structure, but by making switch on or off, we may use this same structure, okay, at two different frequencies. Okay, so this is really a very useful thing. Okay, that with the same structure, now we may operate smartly for the two frequency bands, and also we control the isolation very innovative way also, correct? And the structures are also simple. We are not using a zigzag kind of structure. In a theory, you will find the complete things, complete details about this Mendelian structure. Okay. So, so this is the circuit actually here. Okay. So biasing circuit. Okay. So this biasing circuit we developed over this things breadboard actually. Okay. And finally we got these major results, which are quite comparable with the simulation one. Okay. We plotted the other thing like gain, ECC, and other things. So these are all in accepted range. Okay, for two different frequencies. Gain is also good, like at the lower frequency. Okay, if you see, we have more than 2.2 or 2.3 dB, whereas for higher frequency is also the same range actually. Okay, how much we have time? Okay. So now other part is that the FSS based isolation. Okay, so this is some kind of again added advantages we are getting here. Okay, we developed actually this thing. This is a purely a MIMO antenna, but here isolation technique we use a surface selective frequency selective surface, which is a FSS, and we have the added advantages that RCS we control. And we reported this work in IEEE transaction on antenna and propagation in 2018. Okay, so radar cross section, these things, we know these things that RCS is low, that or it told you that how much or how the object detectable is or not. Okay, if it is very small, the RCS signature is very small, and it would be difficult actually to detect over the radar. Okay, so mainly nowadays you will see a large number of papers are coming with antenna with low RCS. Okay, so this is we started actually these things. Now here you can see there are two element antenna, and on the back of the side we have the frequency selective surface, and here you can see this is a we plotted actually the reflectivity, the transmittivity here at the same frequency, and we coupled these two. Okay, so once we coupled actually, you can see here at these bands. Okay, these particular bands we have this different type of isolation. Okay, and like here you can see that we plotted the static RCS also with the PEC or with FSS or with modified FSS. I'll show you the modified FSS this thing. Now as soon as actually we put it actually the FSS in, its radiation pattern got distorted. So this is the problem actually. This was the problem. How we sorted out? We experienced actually there is a large amount of surface current accumulating here. So we need to remove it. Okay, so for that actually we introduced this modified FSS structure. Okay, as soon as we use the modified FSS, you see here the isolation actually is very good actually, and more than acceptable range. Okay, so at the same time actually we modified this thing FSS. We got very good isolation this thing, and The best thing is that the radiation pattern is restored. Like here you can see, this was the thing which is not acceptable. I don't know if with this kind of radiation pattern we cannot use, but as soon as we identify the problem, okay, and we restored the radiation pattern again with modified FSS. Correct. So this was actually the contribution from our side, okay, and it is well recognized by the TAP. We plotted other parameters as well, correct, and the issue is that like at the different frequency, because when we modified this FSS at the different frequency, we got the low RCS. Means at the same frequency we did not get the low RCS, we got the different frequency. Okay, because many times what happened, like you have to use your antennas at lower frequency, and this radar and all, they are working at different frequencies. So at that frequency they may detect. So with this modified RCS, we have the added advantages here that this is not going to be detectable with this radar. Okay. Okay. Now, for your information, we have isolation, uh, other isolation technique also in a literature, the reflector base. Okay, so people introduce a reflector here. Okay, so which may short it out all the electric field. Okay, or shorting the current is the idea actually. And people also given actually the antenna placement and orientation. They placed orthogonally all the structures, and they got the good isolation. This is mechanical way we can do. People also produced some of the things with the defected ground structure. They try to find it out where the large currents are storing, and that part they etched actually. And in this way they improve the isolation distance. Correct. So the thing is, so depending on these things, if I talk about the MIMO antenna design methodology, okay, so you have to follow the certain things. Okay, so what are the requirements, what are the numbers of elements, like that. Okay, so this is the thing. Now this is all about MIMO, and now coming over the cognitive radio, okay, which is the our topic. So here the cognitive radio, like according to FCC, okay, it is defined as a radio can be changes transmitter parameter based on the interaction with the environment in which it operates. Okay, this was the definition by FCC. Okay, and like radio, we all know this thing. Software defined radio is a software actually is controlling all the things like your carrier frequency, signal bandwidth, modulation, and other things. Correct. So this is very well known thing. Now, what we are doing actually. The like when we are talking about the cognitive radio system, okay, so it comprises two things. One is the cognitive engine, another is the SDR platform. So what is cognitive these things? Cognitive radio cycle. So first it observe, okay, in the sense of the spectrum I'm saying. First it's observe, okay, it will observe the whole spectrum. Then it will decide which part or which frequency band I need to communicate. Second, then it will act. Then again it will learn, okay, and it will again observe. Like this smart intelligent system is working. Now SDR platform. What is SDR? SDR again, we have the TX-RX system. Okay, and you can see here we have the RF system, and then we have this thing, digital mixer and other thing. DSP is there. Okay, which is not in our area, but is antenna and other things are there actually. So now cognitive engine plus this SDR platform. So at the receiving side, okay, at the receiving side, what we can do, we can change this antenna, okay, with having the capabilities of wideband sensing, narrowband sensing, and bandpass sensing. Correct. Like simply, like this could be governed with the SDR platform. Now we are providing the added advantages to this SDR platform that could be smartly controlled by the hardware as well. Okay, so now let us talk about the cognitive radio devices. So these are two ways actually. Okay, for this communication, depending upon how the communication happening. So two ways we can say actually this thing. One is the spectrum interweave or spectrum overlay. One thing. Second is spectrum underlay. Now, what is that? When we are talking about the spectrum interweave, it means that whenever we have the gaps, okay, this is a whole band, you can say here the frequency band, and y-axis is a power spectral density. Now PU stand for the primary user, SU stand for the secondary user. Now primary user means we have the dedicated bands and other thing. Even they may arbitrarily choose the other frequency bands also. Now in between the communication, we may have or we may getting actually some gaps. Okay, so those gaps may be unutilized, underutilized. Okay, so the idea of this cognitive radio is that these gaps may be smartly used actually by some mechanism, so that our spectrum will be total utilization of the spectrum will be these things. And other scheme is the spectrum underlay. Correct. The spectrum underlay is that, like, because after some power means power level, okay, allowable power level, the primary users are working, and below that level they are not working. So we may have a chance that where the secondary user may start working. Correct. So there is a two schemes. Both the schemes are very famous actually. The spectrum underlay is very famous. Now, when you see in a literature, you will find that people proposed solution antennas as a solution for the spectrum interweave or underlay separately, not combinedly. This was not done so far till the date. No one actually performed that how to combine these two things. Correct. So first time actually we combine these two things. I'll show you how. So let me talk over the requirements actually. Okay, when we are talking about the cognitive radio front end, so like two schemes are there, interweave and underlay. So in an interweave and underlay, both we have the wideband sensing and also narrowband sensing and band notch sensing. So for interweave, we require the two antenna, underlay we require the two antenna, total 4 antenna. Okay. If we don't have the smart antenna, we have to develop the 4 antennas. Correct. And earlier, if you see, like this is the integration we made actually. We are making the cognitive radio and MIMO antenna. Now earlier, if you see, just a minute. Yes, this is the slide actually. Earlier, actually, these antennas were proposed with underlay and overlay separately. And here you can see, like this antenna, if you take, so how they manage this thing, wideband sensing antenna. Then we have the reconfigurable filter, bias tree, and several things. Correct. So you can see here, okay, like here also. This is a reconfigurable communicating antenna, and this is a wideband sensing. So different antenna for different scheme. Like this is the two antennas are there. Similarly, if you want to have the solution of the two different scheme, you require the 4 antennas. Okay, so we reduce down and we given a single antenna, all the solution in a single antenna. Okay, so before that, okay, so what we did actually, we added cognitive radio, this things idea plus MIMO antenna both. So for that actually it is very much required that how to make it multifunction. So we require the multifunctional structures. So as we have very good expertise in the mathematical antennas, correct. So we develop some of the smart filtering structures. Okay, so here the challenges are that these are very low Q factor. When we are making the reconfigurable it, okay, the challenge will be high, low, these things. Q factor is the main challenge. Second thing is that how to develop a multifunctional structure which can cover all pass, band reject, filtering response. This is one thing. So for that actually initially we develop the low pass and dual bandpass filter. Okay, so this is not an active filter. This is a passive, but it offers you the low pass and dual bandpass at the same time. So we got the idea. Yes, we can do, and this is very small. You can see. And one more thing, that these mathematical structures are offering you somewhat high Q, high quality factor. So it's good for multifunctional structure. Fine. Now, next actually, we develop a smart or multifunctional structures. Here you can see there number of unit cells are there. Okay, so you can see here. These are the spiral one, and there is a big rectangular ring actually here, and inside this there is a split ring is there. So there are three substructures are there, and these three substructures providing me all pass, band pass, band reject. Are you getting this in? Okay, we need to introduce biasing inductor, biasing stub, detector diode, all these things. This is a fabricated. So this is the multifunctional, and depending upon the switching condition, we may have band pass, band reject, and out pass. Correct. Fine. So now what I can say actually, like if somehow if I integrate this multifunctional structure with our MIMO system, okay, so I may say actually, yes, we don't require the 4 antennas. By using the switching conditions, I can use that antenna for different operations. Okay, so this is the idea. Okay, so here the compactness is also 80%. We published this work in IEEE antenna and wireless propagation letter and IEEE transaction on circuit and system recently. Correct. Okay, so design consideration. Like we are going to develop here for the 5G, particularly 5G application. So we need to take care the band. So we taken care of the large bandwidth 2.5 to 4.2, which covers this sub 6 gigahertz distance. However, it is starting from the somewhat 3.2 or 3.0 actually. But we have the large space here. We can cover this thing. Okay, number of antenna elements are 4 here. Isolation should be 15 dB, and it should be smart uh, smart sensing technique, which may work for interview and spectrum under more than. Okay, so this is the work actually we develop. Okay, this is the thing we develop actually in a lab. In 2019, we reported this work in IEEE transaction on antenna and propagation. So here you can see from the figure itself, it is clear that we have the 4 antenna element. We have the multifunctional circuits also, which makes this system very smart and which could be utilized for the 2 different schemes. Correct. So how we started? We started with the wideband antenna. So we have taken this structure. It's very well-known structure. Okay, well-known and very smooth structure will provide you the wideband responses. Well-known these things. Second thing is that when then after we kept in a 4 antenna element arrangement, and we recorded its response, and what we found that S parameters means S11 is quite okay. We have the very wide bandwidth, but at the same time isolation is very poor. Correct. So how to improve the isolation? So for this actually we introduce a reflector based technique. Okay, so why reflector based? The answer is at the bottom side. You can see the 2 figures where we plotted the surface current distribution. So when we feed it from 0.1, so 0.2 also inducted. So so how we can do? We can also do some filtering arrangement like previously I shown, but it may do the bulky actually, and may affect several other antenna parameters because already we are using one filter, multifunctional filter. So better to use some different technique. Okay, so for that actually we use a reflector. Okay, so that this patch you can see here, this patch actually, large patch, okay, which connected with this thin metallic strip. So what happened actually, once we provided the feed to the antenna number 1, so this is going to be inducted, and it offers a very 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 low impedance. So all the things shorted these things at the patch. So in this way, actually, we are making the good isolation. Okay. Now here you can see also the isolation is very good here. Okay, and acceptable in a range. It is all in less than minus 50 dB. Okay. Now making the multifunctional filter. This is again we have not taken any new structure. This is very well known splitting resonator in literature, and the quality factor is also very high. We all know, correct? This is the equivalent circuit here. Now we identified one location where we put it the Vector diode. Okay, so this is the location we put it the Vector diode, and what we experienced that yes, by controlling this thing's capacitance, we may tune the band. Okay, so here this is the S11. Okay, so this is a band stop kind of nature, sorry, by band pass kind of nature it is providing by changing the different voltages. So one problem is solved. We got the band pass filter with this. Now how to get the all pass and or stop band? Okay, so for that actually what we did, we introduced 4-pin diode. The blue color you can see here. Okay, please check this blue color. So once all S1, S2, S3 and S4 are on, so this is acting as a all pass filter. You check it's S11. Okay, whereas when S1, S2, S3 and S4 are off, again it's offering you the band pass response. Correct. So now we have the two properties. Okay, and this Vector diode, okay, is smartly controlling the capacitance with respect to your applied voltage. Now after that, then we have another this things pin diode. Okay, we put it here, this S5. Okay, and what it does actually, you please check when we have this figure. Okay, band reject filter, when we have these things S1 on, S2 off, S3 off, S4 on and S5 on, so it provides me the band reject response depending upon the voltage conditions. Okay, so this is the complete actually the circuit response here. And then after we embedded these multifunctional structure in a field lines. Okay, however we have to do the matching analysis and all, correct, and the biasing lines are there, correct. So finally here you can check, this is the S11 when we have S1, S2, S3 and S4 on and S5 off. So all pass response first of all. So we require one sensing antenna, wideband sensing antenna. Now with this switching condition we have the sensing antenna. Okay. Second case, band pass filter when all switches are off. Correct. When all switches are off, so we may tune it, and this would be a band pass kind of things. Third is that when these are the switching condition, we have the band reject. Why? What is the use of band reject in a underlay operations? Because at the certain level of power, we have to stop the secondary user. Okay, so this band reject filter will help to stop those communications. Are you getting this thing? Fine. So this is complete structure. Okay, complete fabricating structure. Okay, now here you can see number of wires. These things are there. Now the thing, these challenges are how to minimize all those things, because surely it will affect your efficiency and gain. Okay, we cannot bypass it. It will definitely alter your far field parameter. Okay, so this is the complete circuit response we studied, and these are the measured S parameter. Okay, so all the parameters or all the measures are well satisfied with the simulated one. Okay, you can see here. And after that, we also saw that effect of multifunctional filter of antenna parameter. Like what happens actually, if you check the second number of figure, so the efficiency actually dropping very drastically. Please check with both filter and biasing lines. Okay, the black one is the without filter and biasing lines. So drastically this thing, so efficiency goes down. So we got solution actually. We got solution. After that, we try to improve, and we will discuss with you very soon. That work actually is under review. So I cannot say something about that, but we overcome this problem as well. So these are the field this far field pattern, and here you can see this is the in a different direction. So we got a very good field isolation too. Okay. In a similar way, actually, we got another structure where actually we reduced the overall size of the antenna. Correct. And this work actually done by one of my MTech student. Okay, along with the PhD student. Okay, on the same line, but here the idea is that how to minimize, how to make it compact, further compact. So we have this arrangement. Okay, so we got for more than 48% miniaturization in this structure. Okay, so first, in the same way, we developed a multi-purpose filtering designs. Okay, so we started with all-pass filter. Okay, then after we introduced split filter resonator for band-notch filter. Then after we introduce some of this spiral kind of structures. Okay, this will provide me a band pass filter. Now, similarly, what we did actually, we introduced biasing inductor, biasing stub, vector diode, and other thing. And depending upon the switching condition, we will be getting the band pass filter, band reject, and all pass filter. Correct. So all the values are there. You may refer this paper. Actually, we reported the results in IEEE AWPA. You may see this thing. So you can see here, depending upon these things, the band reject filtering response we have here, and the band pass filter we have here. Correct. Now, once these things are set, we went for the design of the wideband antenna, and here you can see here. Okay, so this particular shape is providing a very good bandwidth as well, and the very stable radiation pattern too. Correct. And we analyze here, and we got the isolation problems. These things. Correct. We sorted out those things, and then after we embedded these multifunctional filter here in a same line. What we did actually. Okay, and we got a very surprising results again with a very small size for the same kind of result and wide tuning range we got. Okay, so this is the developed one. Okay, this is the developed one. This things, the structures are, and here you can say we have especially actually arranged in this way so that we may improve some isolation here. Okay, fine. So this is all the measured S results here, S11 or these things for different communication scheme like underlay CR communicating antenna, first one, and this is interview CR communicating antenna. Okay, so here the tunable range is wide. We are getting around 790 megahertz from 3.21 to 4 gigahertz, and tunable underlay range for underlay operations is 3.37 to 4.0. Correct. So at the same time, you may tune your structure for two different schemes at the same time. Okay. Now, still the issue is here with the gain and efficiency. Correct. The gain is 1.5 and 75%, which is a challenge here. How to improve these things, but at the same time, we introduce both the things. So this is the big thing for us, that first time we introduce these two schemes in a single antenna system. Correct. These are the measured simulation and this thing, so simulated and measured radiation patterns. Correct. Like here you can observe some of the cross polar component is high, and that is very obvious because we use biasing lines and Jaipur wires, which affects the efficiency and other things. Okay, so we actually worked all those two parameters, gain and efficiency, and we got solution. we got solution, and we improved the gain, and the gain is now within 3.3 dB. Efficiency is also good. Okay, so as soon as the results, as soon as that the work will be accepted, I'll surely present the work and show you that how we overcome these things. Correct. So this is all about, and this is the comparison actually from the literature survey. You can also check those papers we have given in detail. Okay, so this is the first design what I shown, and this is the second design, AWPL paper actually, where we covered actually between 2.5 to 4.2, both underlay and overlay both the time. And other paper, if you see here, only interview or underlay they are covering. Okay, so this is the references actually. So finally, I would say that it was really a challenging work, and particularly merging the two schemes first time. Okay, so we took this challenge, and we successfully overcome, and finally we got a very smart antenna, correct, which could be useful for coming 5G communication for sub-6 GHz, as well as this concept may be utilized for millimeter wave as well. Even we actually perform some of the antennas at millimeter wave also, correct. So I'll acknowledge my students, those who worked actually very hard. So my PhD student, Dr. T. Srinath Reddy, and my MTech student, Mr. Sanjeev Alam. Okay. So they worked very hard actually, and they contributed significantly. And the gain problem and other things we solved, and some of the papers actually are under review of Tanveer Alam and Reddy. Soon they will be available, and hopefully I'll get the chance to present at some platform or maybe here also, correct, in coming days. Okay. So this is all about. Thank you so much. And, if you have any questions, you may ask. Thank you so much.
Any questions from the participant side? Any doubts from the participant side?
Yes, sir. Sir, I have a question. Sir, all the experimental were discussed under the ultra-wideband frequencies. Will the same isolation techniques be applicable at a millimeter wave MIMO?
Yeah, sure. Actually, as I told you, several techniques are available. Okay, so basically, you may focus the decoupling network and filtering base. Even you can go for some meta surfaces based also. Correct. So, like at millimeter wave frequencies, these will be equally useful. I think so.
Because the dimension of the antenna structure itself will be
yes, very
small.
But
So
try to understand the basic things, like how to improve the isolation. So what we did actually, whenever the cross talking is there, okay, so this is due to the induction of proper surface current channel will be there. So we broken down those channel by using the defected ground plane or maybe your filtering element. So this is the basic thing, and that could be implemented at the millimeter wave. But the challenge is, yes, I agree with this. The antenna size is very small and other thing. So your filtering size and other things will be also very small. Okay, so you need to find it out that at which structure, which technique will be useful. Okay, otherwise structure will be bulky.
Okay, sir. Sir, one more question. So how we can differentiate a phased array and a MIMO antenna?
Pardon?
Because usually when yes, sir.
Pardon?
Literature, when they say array, they say as if they have a n number of ports, they just declare it as an MIMO antennas. So phased array and MIMO.
Actually, this is textbook question. Okay, and these two things are different. These two things are different. I can understand, but these two things are different when we are talking about the phased array and the MIMO. Okay, so here the thing is, like I told about the diversity. Okay, why we are using, we are improving the diversity. Okay, and the spatial diversity. Okay, and improving the data rate. Whereas when we are talking about the phase array and other things, the business is completely different. Okay, the application particularly for tracking and making the narrow beamwidth, so that we can cover a specific zone. Okay, so these two things are completely different. Don't merge these two. Like if you have the 100 elements in a MIMO antenna and 100 elements in a phase array, these two things are completely different. Okay.
Oh. Yeah. Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
Sir, one question is there. What if we can realize this MIMO antenna with the help of SIW? We have similar structure, but we use SIW to enclose overall structure.
Why not? You can use SIW. If you are targeting the millimeter wave, you have to use SIW. There is no other choice.
Right, sir. Right, sir. So for this particular range of frequencies, if we try, we don't get any type of advantage over there for a lower frequencies.
This frequency range, like sub 6 gigahertz.
Yeah, sub 6 gigahertz.
You can use, no issue. You can use and means like you may the circuit will be bulky and complicated, but you have some added advantages here, maybe in terms of gain or efficiency.
Right, sir. Right, sir. Thank you, sir.
Any other doubts? Participants, any other doubts you may ask?
Sir, sir, one more question. Sir, if a phased array has been designed, the focus will be on the steering of that beam. Will be challenging in the phased array? I mean, research point of view, steering the beam will be beam steering will be challenging in a phased array.
What is the question? I'm not getting it.
So when we design a phased array,
yes,
beam steering will be a challenging task.
Yes, surely it is very challenging actually.
Yes, and when we see the literature, the 60-degree watt, the usual steering has been pointed out. More than that, designing will be good, like one end fire, getting an end fire steering will be a good target, sir, when we design a phased array.
Actually, means you're not much went through the phased array actually. So it will be not justified to answer these questions. Okay, so I hope you can understand, because we are not actually going through this phased array. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you for your response.
So for cognitive radio applications, sir, so apart from frequency reconfigurability, can we also include pattern or polarization reconfigurability, sir?
Your voice is actually very low.
Sir, can you hear me now, sir?
I'm not getting the voice. Can you please be loud?
Sir, am I audible?
Your voice
yes, you are audible, but a little louder.
Okay. So for cognitive radio applications, apart from frequency reconfigurability, can we also include some other reconfig like a pattern or polarization reconfigurability, sir? For
yeah. Very good idea. Very good idea. You can do. It's an open area. You can do.
Okay, thank you.
Any other doubts?
Any other questions?
Participants, any other doubts you want to ask? Or else mute yourself.
ठीक है, I think.
Yes, sir. I think the doubts are over. We can conclude the session then, sir. Should I, sir?
Yes, please.
Okay. Thank you, sir, for such an informative session on this cognitive radio and the MIMO technology, combination of both the things. I think that will be a very informative session for all the participants. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Rishi.
Thank you, sir.
May I leave now?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Okay, thank you all the participants. Next session will be at 3 p.m. which will be delivered by Dr. Nasimuddin sir from A-Star Labs, Singapore. He will be delivering lecture on metamaterial based wideband circularly polarized antenna designs. Okay. Session will be session link will be shared to you 30 minutes prior, about 2:30 p.m. on the WhatsApp only. Please do join that session. Thank you. You can leave the meeting now.